All right, welcome everybody to the live show tonight. My name is Eric Marks with FindingMiddleEarth.com, and I just wanted to do just a little random impromptu live stream because it's been quite a while since we have hung out on a live show. So, as usual, I'll take a few minutes to make sure all my windows are in order here as you guys are joining in. That's the problem with going a few weeks apart doing live streams. I always forget how to operate this software. All right, good deal. Oh, my watch is telling me I need to stand. It's not going to happen. I just sat down. All right, so we're going to have a few things coming up before the end of the year. We're going to have a great giveaway coming up. It's going to be like my 10,000 subscriber giveaway. I'm trying to decide if I just want to do a random giveaway or if I want to do like a photo contest like I did last Christmas. So I'm still trying to decide that. If you guys are joining in yet, just let me know what your thoughts are on that. If we should do like a landscape photography contest or some other kind of fun contest. So we got the 10,000 subscriber giveaway coming up. I ordered a new lens for my Nikon D810, which I am super excited about. I've been wanting this lens for over a year, and then it just went on a massive sale for the Black Friday, Cyber Monday thing, and then it ended, and I missed out on it, and then it went on sale again 2 days ago, so I picked one up from B&H. So that's kind of I'll reveal that in a few days when I get that in. And unboxed and everything. So, and of course, I'll do reviews and I'll test that out. You guys will like that. Anyway, other than that, I'm basically just here hanging out and chilling out with you guys for the night. So I'll probably just do like a semi-short live stream, maybe like half an hour or so. So as you guys are joining in, hop in the chat window. Let me know where you're viewing from. Of course, let me know if you guys have any questions. And by the way, I always like to mention this on my videos and my live streams. I get so many emails and contact forms through my website. So if you guys do have any like specific questions or whatever, I'm always more than happy to answer those. Just try your best to filter those questions in through social media, because I'm very quick to respond typically on direct messages for Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So if you guys want to follow me over there and just tag me in a post or message me or whatever, I'm typically much faster at responding to that versus my emails. And I'll show you why. I'll show you my inbox here. This will be fun to look at. I don't know if you guys can see that, but my mail inbox says 25,000 emails. So yeah, that's why I don't really notice my emails as much, because after it got to like 10,000, I just can't sort through them. So I just look at like the most recent 10 or so, and that's the only way I can manage my sanity. Okay, Chad joined in, said Bostonia here. Cool. Thank you for watching. Welcome in. Hope everyone is having a great Christmas season so far. This is always my favorite time of year, like the whole autumn all the way through winter. It's always a very interesting time to photograph the landscape. It's very cool. You get the autumn colors, and then everything dies, and you get this like super weird, interesting, bland, contrasty landscape. Andrew says, hey, how much have I missed, and how much longer are you on? I just started like 2 minutes ago, Andrew, so you haven't really missed anything. I've just been rambling on about nonsense. So welcome in. But I did say that there's no rhyme or reason to this live stream. I'm probably not even going to leave it up after. I might, but this is just to hang out with you guys for a little bit. I haven't done a live stream in quite a while because I moved into my new house here in the mountains, so my schedule's been kind of crazy. So I thought I would just go ahead and do the live stream tonight and hang out with you guys for a bit. And by the way, I don't know if any of you guys follow me on Facebook and saw my Facebook status a few days ago, but I finally said goodbye to Adobe Lightroom. It is gone and out of my life. I am now a Capture One convert. So I'm loving Capture One. I just switched to Capture One Pro 11, and then I use that with Photoshop and On1 2018 as plugins, because On1 2018 is brilliant for the effects module. Like that's I do all of my effects processing in there, and then I do my actual raw processing and the raw rendering of my files in Capture One. So in just a few minutes, actually, I'll see if I can swap my screen around, and we'll take a look at Capture One. I'll show you what it does to just the way it renders Fujifilm files specifically. So good. It makes the Fujifilm files render so sharp. The color is so good. It's better than Lightroom. It's better than Iridian Developer. It's better than almost anyone I've used to date, actually. So yeah, I made the switch to Capture One, and as of right now, I couldn't be happier. It's been fantastic. But so my current setup right now is I do the raw processing in Capture One. I shoot it over to Photoshop for blending or whatever, and then inside of Photoshop, I use Nik Collection and On1 2018 for all of my like effects post-processing. So all of the extra stuff I add, like micro contrast and color presets and all that good stuff. What's up, Creative J? How you doing? So yeah, I'll show you guys that. Let me pull that up real quick. I've been really impressed with Capture One. Let's see. Chad says, "Is Capture One as user friendly as LR Lightroom?" No, it's not. It's not quite as user friendly. There's definitely more of a learning curve with Capture One than any processor I've used. But once you get used to it, it's fantastic. And the nice thing is, Capture One does have customizable keyboard shortcuts. So Lightroom does not have that. So you can emulate your workspace much like a Lightroom workspace. You can hit D to get to a develop module, and you can hit R for crop, and you can just set up a keyboard shortcut to where it kind of emulates Lightroom at first so you can get used to things. But no, it's not quite as user-friendly. But once you get used to it, you just know it, and then you can move on from there, and it's easy. All right, let me see if I can swap my screen over to Capture One. All right, I believe that did it there. So here is Capture One, all right, and this is a file, raw file, right here. Where was it at? Maybe it's down here. It's a raw file straight out of the Fujifilm X-T2, this one here. The reason I picked this one is because I want you to notice how bright the sky is, and there's definitely some clipping highlights, if you can see that in our histogram here to the top left. And look how brilliantly this software recovers the highlights. So you can see right here, Fujifilm X-T2. Let's go over to the exposure. I'm just going to peg the exposure back just a little bit here. Okay, and then from there, I'm going to take the highlights, which is under the high dynamic range section. I'm going to crank those highlight recoveries up. Look at that. Look at all that crazy detail. We just recovered the entire sky. And just a second ago, that sky was like that. It was like almost completely blown out. And I processed the same photo in Lightroom and a couple of other softwares. It didn't come close to this. I mean, Capture One even makes the color better. It's amazing. So I'm going to add some contrast. And I mean, just right there, I would print that. I mean, that's just beautiful. You take the shadow recovery up a little bit. And by the way, inside of Capture One, inside of my raw processor, I have a layers tab here. I can go ahead and add a layer, and I can just call it foreground exposure. All right. And I can grab a brush, choose the size of my brush, make it really soft, and I can just super easily draw and just paint in this brush on some of the foreground here. All right, I'll just do this super quick, even though it's going to be a little sloppy since we're on a live stream here. I'm not going to be too precise. Okay, so I just painted that in, and then I'll go here, and I can just crank that exposure up to bring some more life into the foreground. Okay, we'll add a little bit of saturation into the foreground there in the water, add some contrast, take this tone curve here. All right, let's go to the background layer. Take the tone curve, push that down, crank up the shadows a little bit more, not too much. Hop back over to the color, add a little bit of the Kelvin value, over to the warm tones, just a hair of magentas in there. I would print that right now. That is just a banging photo. I mean, man, it's the color. The color is what really sold me on it. But if you want to see the sharpness, you probably can't tell this from a 1080p live stream, but if you do 100% view, I mean, the detail that this retains inside of a Fujifilm file is just mind-boggling when I look at it in Lightroom or any other processor. It is just absolutely phenomenal. The closest that comes to this is On1 2018, but Capture One even beats that as a just straight out of the camera processor. So that's why I start inside of Capture One and then I move on to Photoshop and On1 2018, because Capture One, I mean, just look at that. The color palette and the smooth gradation between the blues and the oranges, it's just brilliant. I've never been so excited about processing my photos in my whole life. So yeah, I love what it does to the Fujifilm files. Let me hop back over to my chat here, see what's going on. All right, what have I missed? Let's see. Andrew says, where can you obtain Capture One? If you go to phase1.com. Phase1.com, just click on products, and then I bought the Capture One Pro 11, just the standalone version, because to be quite frank, I'm tired of paying monthly for software, so I just bought the standalone so that I own it, and then when the next version comes out, I can just pay the cheaper upgrade fee, and I'm good. I just hate paying monthly. So yeah, I just bought the standalone, which was $299, and I own it, and I don't have to pay monthly. Chad says, is that the same pier you dunked your D810 at? Yes, it is, Chad. That is the same pier. That pier has given me a lot of great photos, a lot of great sunsets there, but yes, it also did dunk my D810. Andrew says, and does it allow the same ability to manage files as Lightroom? Yes, you can still catalog your files very much the same way. You can have the Capture One catalog affect what's going on in your computer's file management system. So as you rename the folders and date them inside of the catalog, it does the same thing to your file structure system on your computer. It's very, very similar. There are a couple of little differences, a couple little quirks that I had to figure out, but once I did figure them out, it's actually better than Lightroom. It just takes some getting used to, because Lightroom is just, I had to kind of disconnect from Lightroom because Lightroom is so familiar to me that I held off from Capture One for years because I was like, well, I'm just so comfortable with Lightroom. It's so easy. But once I got used to Capture One, it's much easier. However, I will say, if you're a wedding photographer and you do massive 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 photo events, it probably still is easier to quickly sift through the images inside of Lightroom, do your cataloging and your selects in there, and then maybe you can process them inside of Capture One, because the library and the folder structure in Capture One isn't quite as snappy to navigate, I guess I could say, if you're an event shooter. But for me, shooting landscapes mostly, it's I come back with 10 or 15 files from a location, so it's nothing for me. All right, let's see. Mr. Pixel says, what's your cost estimate for the upcoming Fuji 8 to 16mm 2.8? Thanks. That's a good question. I don't know. I would say my guess would probably be $9.99, maybe $10.99 if I were to take a guess. Because they have to be kind of careful, because their camera bodies are like $12.99, $14.99, $16.99. So I've kind of watched them price their lenses very fairly, and so I don't really know. If I were to guess, I'd say somewhere around $1,000, maybe $1,100. If it's cheaper, then awesome. I'm sure it'll be well worth it. Let's see. Russell says, what's the best way to transfer photos from my D810 with a battery pack to my computer? Do you have to unscrew the battery pack to access the memory card? No. On your D810, the memory card should just be in the little flap on the side, the little door on the side, which isn't where your battery goes. So you shouldn't, whether you have a battery grip on there or not, you shouldn't have a problem at all with the memory card. Randy Myers says, Powder Springs, Georgia in the house. Really? Powder Springs, Georgia. Now, Randy, I grew up in Powder Springs, Georgia. So that's cool. How long have you been following my channel, Randy? I'm curious if you knew that I even lived here. The Powder Springs, I grew up there. I spent 17 years of my life there. Let's see. Luke says, hi, Eric. What's your best advice for archiving your edited pictures, making a copy in JPEG TIFF format? So I have a couple of Drobo servers that always have like a mirrored copy of my photos. So I just back up the raw files. I don't archive them in TIFF or PSDs. But obviously I keep the PSDs, but anything that I do, raw files, PSD edits of those raw files, I just keep everything. I keep everything on a copy on a mirrored drive. Yes, it definitely takes up a lot of space over time, but hard drives keep getting less and less expensive. And remember that your archive drive doesn't have to be some insanely fast Thunderbolt drive. It can just be a NAS drive on your network that's just big. Like, for example, I have a Western Digital, what's it called? I'm sorry, I'm looking across the room. I have a Western Digital NAS drive that's a 16 terabyte NAS drive, and then I have a 64 terabyte Synology NAS drive. So I have, 70, 80 terabytes of archiving space that just mirror my stuff, and I haven't even taken up a third of that yet. So, and I shoot 36 megapixel D810 files and 24 megapixel Fuji X-T2 files. So, if you can get like an 8 terabyte, 16 terabyte drive, which I think that was like $500 or $600 for the Western Digital one. That's not bad at all. It's like $500 or $600 for 16 terabytes, and that's just, I archive everything, and if I run out of space, I'll just buy another one, or I'll use my Synology NAS drive. Randy said, lurked quite a while now. Cool. Yeah, well, that's funny that you're in Powder Springs. So I grew up in Powder Springs, Randy, and then after Powder Springs, moved to Ackworth, and then now I'm up in North Georgia in the mountains. But yeah, I grew up off, if you know where this is, I grew up off of Old Lost Mountain Road in Powder Springs, Georgia. All right. I'll take a sip of my drink here. I don't know what it's been with me lately. I keep, like, if I talk, like, while I've been trying to record my YouTube videos, my voice will just randomly go out. I don't know what the deal is. I guess I've been talking too much lately. I think the problem is I've been trying to do all my videos like in a row so that I can kind of schedule them out through the week. Like, I'll try to record 4 or 5 videos at once, and by the end of it, my voice is just a goner. So while we're sitting here, I know I've mentioned this before, but I want to tell you guys the importance of this little accessory that I carry around with me. So this is a Hoodman loop, if you guys have ever seen these. It's basically just a little cup here that goes over your LCD screen of your camera, and on the other end is a little loop. It's a 1-to-1 magnification so that you can see your screen in the bright sunlight, because obviously with the LCD screens and the sun reflecting off of them, it's hard to tell if you get a sharp photo or a bright photo. And this just cups over. But another thing I've been using this for lately is I've been leaving my cameras in the camera bag, and I've been using this for composing. I'm not sure. I think it's a 4:3 or whatever, or maybe it might even be a 16:9, but it's a very close aspect ratio to a regular photograph that comes off of your sensor. So using this to compose, to look through it, almost like you'd look through your viewfinder, it's actually nice to kind of get an idea of what composition you want through this, because it's very, very similar to looking through a viewfinder at like a, I don't know what focal length this would be. Let me see if I could guess. I don't know, probably like a 35 millimeter view, I would guess, on a full frame. So yeah, this was like 50 or 60 bucks, and it's great. It comes with a little thing, so you can wear it around your neck, which I do that on location, so that way it doesn't get in your way. And then if you're, when you're on your tripod, the sun's beaming on your back and it's reflecting off your screen, you just hold it up, you review your image, and you move on. This thing's been a lifesaver to be able to check stuff like on a paid gig, because this is just, if you need to check sharpness and sometimes your histogram, you don't trust it, this just automatically confirms that you've gotten the keeper photo. And again, I've been liking it lately for composing. It's pretty nice. So yeah, it's called the Hoodman Loop, and it's just a nice little piece of gear to have with you in the bag if you need it. So I highly recommend that. I'm not sponsored by them or anything. I just like it. It's a cool product. All right, I feel like I'm probably going to be getting boring here pretty soon, so I'm probably not going to make this a very long live stream, again, because there's not really a rhyme or reason to this. I just wanted to hang out with you guys for a bit because I haven't really talked to you on a live show for a while. So what do you guys, have any of you guys out there bought the D850 or the Sony A7R Mark III yet. I haven't heard much about the A7R Mark III. Obviously, I saw that it was released not long ago. But I know I have some Sony fanboys that follow me. I'm curious to know if it's good or not. I used to own, as a second camera, I used to own the Sony A7R Mark II, and I wasn't very happy with it. So I'm curious to know if anyone's been particularly happy or unhappy with the Mark III. Let's see here. Mr. Pixel says, do you own the 10mm to 24mm? If so, do you recommend it for landscapes, or would you wait for the 8 to 16? I do own the 10 to 24, and I do really like it. It's very, very sharp in the center. However, I have noticed that the corners can get pretty soft unless you're at like f8, f9. Even like f5.6, f11, the diffraction starts to set in just a little bit. The lens, again, the lens is great. I mean, it's a really good lens. You're not, Fujinon lenses are all really, really good. But compared to the other ones that I use, like the 16 to 55 and 35 f2, what else do I have? The 55 to 200 even. It's just not, the corners aren't quite as satisfying as I would like them to be. So if you can wait, I would probably wait to take a look at the 8 to 16. However, I don't know how the 8 to 16 is going to handle distortion. Let's hope it's going to handle it well, because the 10 to 24, Fuji actually does handle distortion pretty well. It's just not quite as sharp in the corners as I would like it to be. But, you're not going to get that kind of unbelievable sharpness unless you move up to like a Zeiss Distagon lens or something. Let's see. Thomas says, I just bought an XT1 with 18 to 55 lens for $850. I've been uncertain, haven't opened it yet. Really been uncertain. So it's just, you have an XT1 sitting in front of you and you haven't opened it yet? Oh man, you're going to love that. Even for landscapes, I still have an XT1. I have an XT2 and an XT1 as a backup. I mean, for $850, you might as well open it and play around with it. If you don't like it, I guess you can sell it. But I mean, Thomas, what camera do you have? Why did you buy the XT1? What are your reservations? It's a great camera. I mean, it just is. The XT1 is what started everyone's love for the Fuji X system. That was the real market camera that was like, whoa, Fuji has something going on here. And the 18 to 55 is actually a surprisingly good lens as well. So I'm glad you got that one, because the OIS in that lens is incredible. It's really good for hand-holding stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's not a Nikon D810, but it's, so I don't, because I don't know what camera you're using, but it's a very good camera. I have a video that I'm going to be making soon, because I've promised this for a long time to people, where I'm going to be doing a XT1 20x30 print test. So I'm going to go out on a landscape vlog with just the XT1 and come back, process the image on camera, and then order a 20x30 print, and I'll show you guys the result. I expect very good things. I expect it to be able to easily do that, because I've looked at the image quality coming out of the XT1 files, and it's very, very impressive for the camera that it is. It's this small little camera body, and it packs a big punch. And I just spent a week in Disney World, a little over a week, and I used almost every single day, I used the 18 to 55 kit lens. So I'm going to be making a video about that soon too, where I'm going to be releasing some raw files. I'm going to write a blog post where you guys can download the raw files from the XT2 and the 18 to 55, and you can check the image sharpness, and that 18 to 55 is going to surprise you. It's very good. Thomas says Christmas. Okay, you got it for Christmas. So yeah, I mean, it's up to you. I don't want to pressure you to keep it, but man, it's a really good camera. Let's see, what did I miss here? Andrew says, I use the 27mm for street photography with my XT20. Lots of moans about this lens, but I find that it's fine. And you know what, Andrew? That's all that matters, man. If it works for you, who cares what other people say? Blogs and articles, there's always going to be articles and blogs saying negative things about everything and some stuff, but if it works for you, who cares? Thomas says, I haven't had a camera since the D70. I'm getting back into photography. Okay, cool. So then, yeah, I mean, the Fuji X system is a really good way to get back into photography, especially if you ever shot film, because I've heard a lot of people say they love that like tactile feel of the buttons, the actual dials, the physical dials on top. Yeah, I think you're going to love it. I think you're going to be really impressed with it. Let's see. Luke says, your opinion about the Godox flash for Fuji. I have not used the Godox flash for Fuji. However, I have used the Nissan flash for Fuji, and I really, really like my my Nissan i60A. Excuse me. So yeah, I've been really happy with the Nissan stuff. I also have the Air Commander, and the Nissan i60A I think has just as good as a power output as some of the big, like the big Godox or the big speed lights, like the Nikon SB900s and stuff. It's got a very good flash, very powerful output. All right, let me make sure I haven't missed any comments here. I think I'm all caught up now. All right, I think I saw somebody back here talk about the D8. Oh, there we go. Creative J says, I wish I could afford the D850. Yeah, you know, I made a video about that. The D850 is an incredible camera. I mean, it is. There's no question about it. But if you're just wanting to shoot some landscapes and some slow landscape on a tripod studio stuff, the D800, the D800E, and the D810 are all still really good choices. Gosh, my throat keeps bothering me. My voice keeps going out for some reason. Speaking of the D800, D800E, my friend Joseph had been looking for a new camera for a while. He actually came from a Sony a6000, the older Sony camera, and we were looking over Cyber Monday. We were talking about, you know, what camera he should get. We were texting about it, all these options, and then the website Used Photo Pro popped up with like a mint condition Nikon D800 for $1,200, and it only had 7,000 shutter actuations on it, and it was just mint condition, you know, 36 megapixel full frame sensor coming from the Sony a6000. He's in heaven with it. So that's a killer deal for that camera. Those cameras brand new were over $3,000. Mr. Pixel says, I also own the i60A. It's a very well made flash and works well with the Air Commander. Yep, I absolutely agree. Creative J says, yeah, I use the D500 currently. Yeah, the D500 is a very, very good camera. I'm assuming you shoot action. I can only assume that with the crop sensor and the D500 crazy AF and the 10 frames per second. Andrew says, for someone who's never had experience with post-processing, which one would be best overall for Fuji files? So Andrew, I'm not sure if you were here, like, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes ago when I did this little Capture One walkthrough, but I just switched everything over to Capture One Pro. I've been using Lightroom all my life, and I just switched to Capture One for my Fujifilm files, and I could not be happier. Just couldn't be happier. Jan says, what lens for evening sunsets would you recommend for a Sony a6000 that won't have so much noise in the photo? Well, the noise is more so going to be controlled by your camera instead of the lens. So just make sure you keep your Sony a6000 on the lowest ISO, which I think is 100 on that camera, maybe 200. Excuse me. But as far as a lens for evening sunsets, I mean, there's a million of them. The Sony 10 to 18 millimeter is a really good option for the Sony cropped sensor cameras. Let me confirm that that's what it's called here. I think it's the Sony E-mount 10 to 18. Let me look it up so that I make sure I'm not giving you wrong information. Yep, so it's the Sony E10 to 18 f4 lens, constant f4, and B&H Photo has it on sale right now. It's $100 off, so it's $748, which is a really nice price for that lens, and that will definitely take care of your wide-angle evening sunsets for sure. All right. Andrew says it supports Fuji files without a converter. Yes, it does. Capture One will import Fujifilm RAW files right into the processor. You don't have to convert anything. Let me swap you around to my Capture One screen again so you can see this. Let me do this. All right, so here's Capture One again, Andrew. This is a Fujifilm. You can see right here, a RAF, RAF file right out of the Fuji camera. I didn't have to convert to DNG. And that was with me doing just a little bit of processing. Let me reset the adjustments. That was the raw file. See how blown out and clipped the sky is there? If you just peg back that exposure, look at all that detail that gets sucked back into the sky. Take up the highlights. I mean, it's just, that is perfect. It is just perfect on this photo. And if we crank up the shadows a little bit, let me show you the sharpness on this Fuji file. If I double click in the center here, and it shoots me into 100% view. Look how just razor sharp the legs of that pier. That's where I focused right there. I mean, that's incredible. It's a Fuji X-T2 24 megapixel RAF file. It never did this in my Lightroom. In Lightroom, it looked like this. Let me crank the clarity all the way down. It looked like that in Lightroom. It looked like someone took the clarity slider and went negative with it like crazy. But in here, it's just super beautiful and sharp. I love the way it handles the color. It's my favorite part about it. Again, the tone curve is also really nice and beautiful. Add that nice bit of contrast. Yeah, so there you go. There you go, Andrew. I would highly recommend that. And then I also use Photoshop and On1 2018 as a plugin inside of Photoshop. So there you go. Capture One is my new raw processor, and I absolutely love it. Mr. Pixel says, is Capture One a one-off purchase? Yes, that's the best thing about it is they offer you an option. You can do a one-off standalone purchase, or you can do a monthly subscription. It's up to you. I did the standalone one-off purchase so that I own it because I can't stand paying monthly on my software. So I own it now. It's Capture One Pro version 11, and it's just fantastic. Andrew says, great, I'll look into that one. I remember you weren't impressed with the highlights from the On1 processor. Yeah, I was not impressed with the highlights from On1 back in the first version of early 2017. In 2018, they fixed it. So On1 process is very similar, but from straight out of the camera Fujifilm file, the straight out of the camera rendering of color and sharpness, Capture One all the way. It takes the cake all the way. It beats Lightroom, it beats On1, it beats Pictorial, it beats everything for the out of the camera render. And then once I'm done doing my light processing inside of Capture One, I send it from Capture One to Photoshop, and then once I'm in Photoshop, then I just go to town on it with Nik Collection and On1 2018, using it as a plugin inside of Photoshop versus the actual, from the camera raw processing. All right, guys, it looks like I've been on for about 30 minutes or so, so I'm going to go ahead and end the stream in just about 2 minutes. So if you guys have any last-minute questions, go ahead and fire them away in the comments. As always, guys, seriously, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I'm just hanging out on a Friday night before Christmas, so just the fact that there's all of you guys in here hanging out with me, it's awesome. It's nice to know that there are other nerdy photography geeks on a Friday night willing to hang out on YouTube instead of, be off doing something with your life. Because I never do that. I'm married and I have a 2-year-old little girl, so I don't ever go anywhere. I'm pretty much a prisoner in my own dungeon here. Mr. Pixel says, how much did you pay? I'm assuming you mean for Capture One. I paid $299 for the standalone version. Thomas says, thanks, that was really helpful. Awesome. Thank you, Thomas, for watching. Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Andrew. Guys, as always, seriously, I appreciate your support so much. As I always like to say, the Finding Middle Earth YouTube channel is really all of you guys. It's not me. If it was just me, then it would literally be just me. But it's all of you that always make this community, and it makes it fun for me. I mean, it really does. You guys make this running this YouTube channel just a blast. So I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. In case I don't do another live stream, stay warm out there if you're somewhere cold like I am. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next one. Take care.